All right, I have to do this video. It's mandatory because my thoughts need clearing up right here, right now. I'm gonna give you one take and I'm gonna just speak from the heart because this has completely flabbergasted me on so many fronts. I can't even tell you, but mainly, of course, the key thing here is the power scaling. Obviously, it's always about the power scaling. Anyone who tells you that power scale doesn't matter in a series like One Piece or any other major shonen series is lying to you. They are wrong. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Power scaling always matters. Even in a sort like Harry Potter, power scaling matters. Lord Voldemort pulls up, he gets dipped by some random first year student. That ain't happening. Why? Because power scaling matters. And right here, right now, power scaling matters a lot. A lot. Luffy versus Imu. Oh man, I'm just off my chapter reaction stream to this on my Cole Requiem YouTube channel. Crazy stream. Much of all the donations during the stream was insane, and the reactions that people were having, like mine, were just like, wait a minute, what? It was either wait a minute, what? Hyped as hell because we hate Luffy, and Imu, we champion Imu, yeah! Or hyped to hell, Bakana. There's just no way. Wait, what? That easily? Qu'est-ce que c'est, mon ami? Ain't no way! Ain't no way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this fight between Luffy and Imu might be over after only one chapter. The energy that we saw with base Luffy was not matched by Gear 5 Luffy. And Imu proceeded to dismantle Luffy, not just with homing like chain chomp balls, little demon balls that are coming his way, but also in terms of speed. Luffy was getting blitzed here and there. And not even that, but Imu pulls out a crazy punch where he has the omen around his fist like a flaming gauntlet, and he has his little, let's say, omen homies, his Mera and Pusus, they're on his gauntlet. And when he punches Luffy, Luffy dodges in a crazy way, and then Imu's punch tracks him in an even crazier way, like it was his own version of the Gear 4 Bowman Culverin or the Gear 4 Snake Man Python, where it just tracks. It was his version of that. Luffy does pull out the genie, which was insane, looking large and in charge, looking very cool. And as far as I gather, based on the comments by one lady hero, the donations, shouts to you, she was saying how, hey, if you actually look at the kanjis between demon and genie, they're the same kanjis. So Majin also means demon too. So likely the reason why Luffy transformed into a genie was because he's making fun of Imu. Luffy matched energy and turned into his own version of a Majin, a genie. So that's why the genie is there, which is a little low-key racist. So that being said, Imu was about to smoke, and he attaches those stigma balls onto, that sounds weird, he attaches the Blackfire Omen onto Luffy, and Luffy, bound to be the same mistake that Low-key did, and then he was able to dodge that Sigma Blade, and then these little Mera chain chomp balls continue to follow Luffy around, and then Imu pulls out a new sword. His glaive that he was using the entire time during the fight winds up becoming its own little ball of fire, its own like little Mera, and then it goes into his Omen ring. And then he pulls out a sword, which he calls, and I quote, Sword of Wailing Void. And this sword, with one stab on Luffy, he looks like he went through the entire Impel Down surviving Magellan experience in a single stab, just bleeding everywhere. And at first I thought that reminded me of when Kaido sent Luffy punting off the island, like absolutely devastated. But then even more so than that, it reminded me of old school Crocodile. It reminded me of old school boom, right through Luffy's chest. And then Robin has to save as he's going to the quicksand. Oh man, again, it's not a review, it's not a reaction per se, it's just my thoughts just bare. This completely floored me, and it's not because of Imu per se, it's because of Luffy. Emu, I've already had in my top 3, all right, from Rip. He's in my top 3. He is a candidate for the final villain of the story, without question. However, I thought, guaranteed, 100%, I thought that Luffy would perform better in this fight against Emu than Loki. That's what I thought. That's what I honest to God thought. Whenever there was some activity going on with Luffy and Loki, Loki was acting up. What did Luffy say? Do not make me kick your ass. Luffy has said it, I think, maybe twice in the arc, and I believed him. I honest to God believed Monkey D. That Monkey D would in fact kick Loki's ass if need be. And Loki was doing pretty good against Emu. If you go back to the chapters 181, 82, you can see how Loki is doing a pretty damn good job fighting against Emu, where not only do you have the Ragnar Azuchi, where both Loki and Emu make very distinct gaps of space in their clash, and you can see how titanic the explosions are, and then you can see how much damage Emu takes after he does the whole combo on Loki with the Blade of Nemesis, then the whole chain chomp thing, and hits him in the face with that. Afterwards, he gets that one shot on him when he's not paying attention, and then he gets the Thorheim at the end of that chapter, and Emu is smiling. Emu's hyped, like, oh, ho, 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 so thou art back, Nidhogg, right? Even in the next chapter, 1182, you can see that his fervorism for Loki is still there. Think thou wouldst see thee again in this world. Traitor. He's even coughing, a little huffing from Loki and Ragnar, right? So Loki and Ragnar are doing a pretty solid job on Emu. Of course, they're weakening Emu, which makes the most sense, and Emu does ultimately do the signal blade to Loki, and Loki gets set packing. But keep in mind that going into the fight, Emu ate some food. According to what Gerd said, after the Shamrock and the Shuri beatdown, it will take him a while to heal from that, 1. And then 2, we know from the God Valley / Elbaf flashback that he has a hybrid form. Hence why he fell in that castle when he was devastating his dad. He has a hybrid form that we haven't seen yet. And that was not shown during the fight against Emu. And yet, Luffy... Oh, whoa! Like I'm getting possessed by a demon itself. Like Emu saw my video, didn't like what I had to say. I'm gonna show you what's what. The fight, which wasn't low diff, as my personal opinion, between Loki and Emu, just given Emu's reaction, his coughing and huffing at times, and so on and so forth, that fight I thought would be at the bare minimum better going against Luffy. And Luffy was supercharging into the fight. Now, to be fair, this is assuming, all of this is assuming, this is my initial reaction and takes and feelings on the matter hand, right? This is assuming, keyword here, that the fight is over. Because the way it looks, I mean, dude. That Void Sword is no joke, dude. That sword, it killed all the surrounding tree and so on. And then when he stabs him, like the amount of blood is off the charts. The other chain chomp, like mini balls that are following Luffy, I don't know what they do in that last panel. It's hard to tell. I guess they hit him, but I don't know what happens as a result of that. Despite that, though, Luffy looks like he's in a worse condition than Loki now. And there are ways to kind of like finagle that, where, okay, maybe he's doing some Toon Force activity. Maybe he has like a clone going on there, so it's not really the actual Luffy. Maybe somebody had a good idea during the stream where maybe he rearranged his organs, because we saw before on Egghead, where after Valkyrie Scream, he like adjusted his face as if he were Mr. Potato Head, and he was putting his eyes back into the sockets, he was putting his body, his scar back into place, all kind of stuff. So maybe he's able to like adjust his organs to where the attack wasn't, you know, too damaging as it looks, because it looks really damn bad. All the blood he lost during the entirety of Fishman Island, this looks worse, substantially worse. But what's throwing me off the most is, hold up. How can we look at chapter 1181, 1182, looking at Loki and Ragnar and doing what they do against Emu, having confidence in Luffy to be stronger than those guys, especially when they're weakened, and he does worse? That's what's getting me the most. It's not about Emu per se, because I already have Emu in that top 3 spot. All right, to me, it's Emu and Shanks competing for the #1 spot. Mind you, oh my God, Shanks already subdued Loki when he was like 6 years younger. Okay, Shanks he's that boy, but Emu is also that boy too. Again, in my personal opinion, candidates for the end game, and obviously in the future, Luffy will be on that Joy Boy level without question, even stronger than Joy Boy probably. But the gap between current Emu and current Luffy might be big. Again, assuming that it's over, because we have a break, so we have to kind of just think about it for 2 weeks, right? So we don't know. The gap between Emu and Luffy is wider than the gap between Emu and Loki. And Emu and Loki was already a gap, like a mid-diff, not even extreme diff, a mid-diff. But I thought that Luffy would go at least high to extreme, given what he was doing to prep for the fight. There were some comments about the idea that Emu is treating Luffy more seriously than Loki, even though in his mind he's weak, because compared to Joy Boy he's weak. But obviously, like compared to Joy Boy, Luffy is far from that. Obviously, that is without question. However, he does pull out that sword. He pulls out the sword that has his own namesake. So the entire time when he was fighting in the arc so far, he's had that jagged glaive. But that jagged glaive is one of his arsenal, one of his military might. I did say before in the video where he has an insane arsenal, and like you see in real time. And he pulls out this thing called, again, the Sword of Wailing Void. Emu's name, Emu, I think it's Mu means void. So he pulls out this sword. He changes styles. And this sword seems to be way more lethal than his glaive. Now, mind you, he has to speed blitz Luffy in the first place to tag him, which he did. Crazy how fast he is, honest to God. Because Luffy could time Kizaru without any issues. But Emu just like orders a match. So he's like way faster than light. It's crazy. But Emu was able to get a stab on Luffy with a sword that has a very unique property, more so than even Enma. He's eradicating the life around him with that sword. So this sword, you can argue, because he's pulling out that sword in the first place, that is proof evidence in of itself that Loki wasn't treated with the same respect as Luffy. Even though compared to Joy Boy he is weak, he's still being taken more seriously than Loki and Ragnar, where you only use that glaive. I don't know. That could be true. I'll admit it, that could be true, but I'm not too sure. Right now, it's very touch and miss with me, because the idea of he was probably going all out more against Luffy with that sword, fair enough. At the same time, though, Loki was injured to go into that fight and didn't use a hybrid form. He didn't use hybrid form. He didn't use it. And he has, as far as we understand. So what happens now it all depends on Luffy's condition after this chapter. If the fight is done, if it's over, then no one else on the entire country can stop him, because all the main fighters, the good guys, are down and out. So that means that Emu probably gets Gunko, Shuri. He gets the kids, the Elbathian kids. You have Sanji and Zoro get diffed again, by the way. Shout out to Jinbei. Jinbei's looking hella mid for most of the final saga, but today, be a man. That being said, Sanji and Zoro get diffed again by Emu on another pass by, and then we have Emu put the kids on the ship and they leave. And so what ends up being the case here, what's happening is that you have a Water 7 situation where you have Visby there, Water 7, and then Emu's there, Rob Lucci. They have to go and save the kids, and that's how you coordinate, let's say, people like Sabo and Vivi with their meeting for, let's say, the D-Clan. You have Luffy forced to go to Whole Land now, trying to see the kids back because they failed. They were captured on their watch. You get players like Gabon to move too. You have the Grand Fleet start to move in mass. You have Mr. All Day, Every Day, 24/7, 365. He sees all that, makes a play himself, probably. So that's how you get a lot of movement going on for, let's say, the final war. Like, the final war could be the next arc, unironically, if Luffy is done here and now and the giant kids are saved. And that is their onus, the Shark Crew onus, to go to the Holy Land because they failed on El Bath, like how they failed on Water 7. And then the Holy Land is essentially their Ennis Lobby. That's option 1. Option 2 is that if we're not done, then it's like Alabasta, where, okay, he takes the L here, but for some reason, we're still doing stuff at El Bath, and then he comes back later on to have another round at Emu, and then he gets progressively better and better and better as these fights go on. And then that gives Sanji and Zoro enough time to try and, let's say, kill Killingham and Summers, which will do what? A massive damage to Emu, like how Harald's death caused damage to Emu. As a result of that damage, he is forced back to the Holy Land. Of course, option 3 is the fight keeps on going as is, where this right here is a standard Oda suspense cliffhanger on a break week to make cats think about what's going on in earnest, and we're all getting riled up because Oda he's manipulating us, and then we come back, let's say it's actually a Toon Force clone, or the man just tanks it, X, Y, and Z and the other. So all this huffing and puffing had no substance to it. And considering how the man just made a Toon Force genie out of nowhere, maybe he learned from Kizaru in the last arc and learned how to make clones. That is not impossible. So that's how I kind of see it right now, where literally I think the next chapter or 2 or 3, based on, I think, Oda's comments, I believe he had comments in Jump Festa last year about how this arc should end suddenly in this year, 2026. I believe that's what he said back then. And if that's true, then this could be it, where it ends on a Straw Hat L. Like in Shibondi, like in Water 7, it ends on a Straw Hat L. And from there, it's about improvements, whether it be off or on screen for Luffy and the crew to get ready for the battle on the Holy Land against the world government and to save the giant kids. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Wow. We will see, man. I'm still stunned. Again, this could still be ongoing fight, but we have to wait and see. But right now, it looks bad. Like, whoa, like that attack was insane. Let me know your stance on the topic at hand. Of course, for members, you have the video first. Sub to your boy's channel. Click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.